Hey guys, my name's Dave from Guitar Zero to Hero. Now for those of you who have a BOSS Katana or you're thinking of getting one in the future, I want to introduce you to the best foot switch that I've tested for the BOSS Katana range, even better than the GAFC. And it works with pretty much every single katana. This is the Airstep Katana Edition from Xsonic, which can unlock so many features from your amp. Now the two biggest benefits of getting this pedal, in my opinion, are that one, if you have a Katana 50, this pedal allows you to toggle your patches and effects exactly like the GAFC pedal that is only usually available for the Katana 100. It also allows you to use an expression pedal at the same time as this foot switch. So again, you're basically upgrading your Katana 50 to a 100 in terms of functionality. And number two, you can finally edit and fine tune your amps and effects wirelessly without having to plug your amp into a computer or laptop. And this is well and truly one of the biggest downsides of the Katana range. But with this Airstep Katana, you can modify amp sounds and effects completely wirelessly off your smartphone. There's two different apps you can use to do this, and I'll run through both in this video. There's a few minor limitations and things to note when using the wireless editing, but overall, after testing it out for a few weeks, it's definitely an awesome device that Katana users will have a lot of fun with. This pedal works with the Katana 50, 100, the Katana Head, Artist, Mark 1 and Mark 2. And in this video, I'll show you how it works with both the Katana 50 and the Katana 100 Mark II. So first, let me show you how this thing works as a plug and play device, straight out of the box and into the amp. And later in the video, I'll show you how you can wirelessly edit your tones using the Airstep Katana. Okay, let's start with the Katana 50. Okay, with the Airstep Katana plugged in, if we have blue lights, that means we're in channel mode. So we can easily swap between the 4 presets on our Katana 50. So channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and we can also get to the panel settings of the Katana, so whatever's on the physical controls, by holding down this final button. So that's channel mode, really easy to swap between patches and way easier to use than the BOSS FS6. Now, usually with the FS6, if you wanted to go from channel 1 bank A to channel 1 bank B, you'd have to tap 2 buttons in order to get there. But with the Airstep Katana, you can get there in 1 tap. The other massive benefit with this Airstep Katana is that we can now use an expression pedal at the same time as a foot switch. With the Katana 50, there's only one output jack for an expression pedal or foot switch. But since the Airstep Katana uses the USB port, we now have that free spot for an expression pedal. So now we can use this expression pedal for our volume, or for any pedal effects like wah. Let's take a look at the second mode now, which is FX mode. To get into FX mode, we just tap this right button here, and now all our lights will show as green, indicating that we're in FX mode. So this first button here will toggle on or off our boost stomp box. So this regular patch is a clean amp with no boost on it. But if we tap that button, we are now adding a drive. The second button is our modulation effects. The third button is our effects pedal. The fourth button here is our delay, and you'll notice that it's flashing because that's actually the tempo of our delay. So you can tap that to set your delay tempo. And let's listen to that. Or we can go something a bit faster. Now, with the delay, since it's automatically set as a tap tempo, if you want to toggle it on or off, you just need to hold it down. And now we have no delay. The final button here is our reverb, so you can hear that reverb, but if we want to turn that off, then you'll have to hold that down to toggle it on or off. The reason why we need to toggle on or off the reverb by holding it down is because if you tap it again, it will take us back to channel mode. Now, the other really cool feature of the Airstep Katana that the GAFC can't even do is where you can actually cycle through your different stomp boxes on your patch. Now, usually you can do this on the Katana amp by pushing the light buttons. So there's a red, green, and yellow stomp box for each of the boost, the modulation, the effects, the delays. So with the Airstep Katana, you can actually cycle through them. So right now the boost is the red boost that I'm using for this patch. But if I hold that down, it now cycles to the green boost. And now if I hold that again, it's now the yellow boost. And tap it again, and now it's back to the red boost. So that's a really handy piece of functionality with this Airstep Katana. You can do the same with the modulation pedals and the effects pedals, but unfortunately you can't cycle through different delays or different reverbs, since holding those buttons down will toggle them on or off. So that's the Airstep Katana plugged into the Katana 50 with no additional software, just plug and play. It really, really does just unlock this amp. Let's take a look at the Airstep with the Katana 100 straight out of the box without any additional software. All right, so we've got the Airstep Katana plugged into the Katana 100 Mark II here. Now the lights are blue, which means we're in our channel selection mode. So we can easily cycle between our different channels. So that's bank A. Now, in order to get to bank B, it's really simple. All we need to do is hold down any of the channel buttons. So if we hold down that button, we're now in channel 4 of bank B. So we can toggle between all the bank B channels. Now, if you want to go from channel 1 of bank B to, let's say, channel 3 of bank A, then all we need to do is hold on to channel 3. So right now we're in channel 1 of bank B. So let's hold this down. And now we're in channel 3 of bank A. That's really, really easy to swap between those different channels. Now on the GAFC, you have to actually tap 2 buttons in order to get to that position. So again, we are in channel 1 of bank B. If I want to get to channel 3 of bank A, I have to actually tap this panel button, hold it. So now we're in bank A, and then go to channel 3. So the Airstep Katana is actually more efficient than the GAFC, toggling between patches. Now the effects mode on the Airstep Katana is very much the same as the effects mode on the GAFC. So to get into effects mode, we tap this right button, and now we have green lights, which indicates that we're in effects mode. So you can toggle on the boost, the modulation, the effects, the delay, the reverb, all with this Airstep Katana. So right now we just have delay and reverb. Let's add the boost, modulation, effects. With the 4th light, that's our delay, and you'll notice that's flashing. Now you can actually set the tempo here by just tapping it. Let's go a little faster. And to toggle on or off the delay, you just need to hold that button. Now that's a functionality that the GAFC doesn't even have. So it's really handy to have that tap tempo inbuilt onto this foot switch. Now the other awesome thing that we can do with this Airstep Katana is actually toggle through our red, green, and orange stomp boxes in the boost, the modulation, and the effects. This is again something that the GAFC can't do. So right now my boost is the red. If I hold that down, I'm now using the orange boost. If I hold that down again, I'm now using my green boost. And if I hold that down again, I go to my red boost. You can cycle through your stomp boxes of your boost, modulation, and effects, but unfortunately you can't do it with your delay or reverbs. Now, if you already have a GAFC, then there's no reason why you can't actually use the Airstep Katana to just expand your possibilities. So in this setup, what we can actually do is use the GAFC to just cycle through our channels And we can use the Airstep Katana as our stomp boxes. So we can, toggle on our boost, modulation, effects, reverb. And that's a really powerful setup as opposed to having to swap between channel and effects modes back and forth. You can simultaneously use the GAFC and the Airstep Katana. So that's the Airstep Katana in action as a standalone device plugged straight into the amps out of the box. Let's take a look now and see how you can wirelessly edit your tones using the Airstep Katana. Now there's two different apps that you can use to wirelessly edit the Katana. The first app is the BOSS Tone Studio for Katana Air, and it's a completely free app and works pretty well. However, since it was designed for the Katana Air, there are some minor differences and limitations to this app, such as missing stomp boxes and amps, but it is 100% free, so that's a good starting point if you want to start wirelessly editing your tones. The second app is Katana Librarian, which has been around for Android for a while now, but it is coming to iOS and I have the beta version to test out in this video. Now, Katana Librarian requires a purchase to unlock all the editing features, but you get what you pay for, and this app is definitely much better than the free app and allows you to fine-tune everything, pretty much everything, that you can edit in the desktop version of BOSS Tone Studio. So let's take a look at both of them in action on the Katana 100 Mark II. Let's take a look at the first app, which is the BOSS Tone Studio for Katana Air. Now this is the free app. Now, once you open it up, you'll go to Bluetooth and MIDI, and then your Airstep Katana should show up there. Tap it to connect, and then OK. So on our first page here, the amp EQ page, you can change different amp types. So let's go to brown. Let's go to clean now. You can change the gain. Let's turn that gain up. We can change the EQ, so let's boost that bass and take down the treble. One limitation here is that although you can change the amp types, you can't change the amp variations. So that's all pretty self-explanatory. Now, when we go to the effects page, this is where things get a little bit confusing. Now, this first control here says boost or modulation, but what it's actually controlling is just the boost. So even if it goes over to this right-hand side, we're actually still just controlling the boost. So the boost goes from 1 to 100. So basically ignore that there's a line in the middle that divides the left-hand circle to the right-hand circle. That's just going to control the boost. And we turn that down. Or the boost off altogether. The same thing applies to the delay and effects wheel in the middle. This is only going to affect the effects. It's not going to affect delay at all. So again, ignore that there's a left hand and right hand side. This is just only controlling the effects. The control on the right, the reverb, that works as expected. So that's just controlling our reverb. So that's the effects page, but we can actually fine tune all of our effects by tapping edit. Now on the effects page, you'll see the different variations of each stomp box. So for the booster, we have blues drive, overdrive, and distortion, and you can change them within the app. And you can do that with modulation and delay and effects as well. So those are the red, green, and orange stomp boxes that you can cycle through with the Airstep. Now we can tweak our individual stomp boxes. So let's go into the booster page. Now on all of the effects pages, up the top, the title is green. And this is a little misleading because you might think that that's the green stomp box for that particular effect, like the green boost, for example. But you should totally ignore that. That green color doesn't actually affect anything. What you're adjusting on this page is the boost pedal that's currently activated. So if we go into stomp box mode, right now I'm in overdrive, but I can cycle between my different boosts by holding down that boost button. So right now it's a blues drive, right now it's an overdrive, and right now it's distortion. So let's go to our overdrive, And from here, you can fine tune the tone, the bottom end, the effect level, the drive. So. And you can fine tune all your other effects as well. So let's go into modulation. Now let's turn modulation on. Again, one of the limitations on this app is though that if you turn it on, it's not going to show that it's on in the app, but just trust what the Airstep is telling you. So our phaser is on right now, but again, we can cycle through our different modulation stomp boxes by holding down that button. Now we're controlling the flanger. So let's tap and hold it again. And we're now on our slicer, which is our third stomp box in modulation. Hold it down again and we're back to our phaser. And we can turn that off. If you like your settings, you can actually save that patch onto your Katana as well. So the app works, it does its job. There are a few things that you need to just kind of get used to because it's not custom built for these amps. It's actually built for the Katana Air. As I said before, you can't toggle between different amp variations. There's a few stomp boxes that are missing and you can't assign things like expression pedal settings, but overall it's a good place to start. Now let's take a look at the Katana Librarian, which is a lot more customized to these particular amps. In the library page, that's just a whole bunch of TSL files that you can demo and test out. We have the virtual GAFC page, which is just showing you all your different patches, and you can basically use your app as a GAFC foot switch to, just swap between different channels. Now in the editor, this is where we can really fine tune our tone. So we can change our gain, our volume. We have our EQs, we have our amp here, and you can change the cabinet. You can also choose between the variations of the amps as well, and that's something we couldn't do in the BTS for Katana Air. Down here below, we have our effects, so we can toggle on our boost. We can cycle through the different stomp boxes. Now this app still is in beta mode, so I imagine there will be improvements to come. I can turn on my booster there. It hasn't actually reflected on the Airstep pedal, but if I use my pedal, you can see that it actually changes on the app. But I think that's something they'll need to just work on in the future. But if I turn it on the Airstep pedal, you'll see that that booster turns on, and if I hold it, it does cycle through those different booster stomp boxes. If you want to fine tune your booster effects, then you can just go in there and adjust the drive, the tone, all the parameters for that particular booster pedal. You can also go down, turn on the noise gate. You can assign the expression pedal to one of the effects or to volume. Now, one thing that it is missing that is in the Tone Studio is the ability to assign the exact parameter that the expression pedal will be controlling. So if you assign modulation as the expression pedal, yes, the expression pedal will control modulation, but it'll just be the default. You can't assign the exact parameter in modulation that that expression pedal will be controlling, and that's something that you can do in the Tone Studio. So hopefully they can add that feature in the future. But you also have GAFC Footswitch, GAFC expression as well. So if you're using a GAFC on top of the Airstep Katana, you can assign them as well. This is a great app, and as you can see, it's a lot more customized to the actual Katanas. And if you've tweaked your settings, then you can tap this button up here and you'll save the patch into your library. So that's wirelessly editing your tones using the Airstep Katana. Now, as far as the device goes, it has an internal rechargeable battery which lasts up to 100 hours and can simply be charged using any USB phone charger. It's built from an aluminium extruded shell and feels really sturdy and pretty much hard as a brick. I love that it's an easy to use piece of gear that doesn't really require a lot of fiddling around. As you saw earlier, I plugged it in, just worked straight away. The only issues or confusions that you may run into are if you're using that free BOSS Tone Studio app for the Katana Air, because it does have some slightly different settings than the regular katanas. So be sure to read the manual for the Airstep Katana if you do decide to use that free app, and you'll see all the minor differences. But if you are investing in this pedal, then I would highly recommend that you just invest in the Katana LIBRARIAN app, which is a much more functional app and is very specific to these devices. So as you can see, the Airstep Katana really can do a lot, but is there a scenario where you may be better off with the GAFC instead of the Airstep Katana? Well, the only thing that I can really think of is that if you wanted to use multiple expression pedals that the GAFC output usually provides, or if you wanted to use the Katana as an audio interface and record all your guitars, well, you can't do that with the Airstep Katana since there's only one USB port on the Katanas, and the Airstep plugs into that USB port. But these are extremely rare cases that I don't think will apply to many people. So for the vast majority of people, this is going to be a great foot switch for your amp. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope it's been useful for you if you're considering a foot switch for your Katana amp. For basically the same price as a GAFC, you're getting a lot of the GAFC features and a whole lot more. So check it out in the link in the description. If you have any questions about this device, then let me know in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.